When the pandemic hit us last year, we were all in a bit of a jolt, although we shouldn't have been. It was going around the world. But it was a big shock that came around, and that meant that rethinking everything that we had planned for the rest of the year. Um, Going back on the drawing board, see what needs to be done in order to make sure that we sail smoothly through this. So, our approach was being proactive, definitely, being more transparent with the employees and getting them to believe in us and trust us that we will sail us through. We will, all of us as a Gulshan family, we will sail through this. And I have to add my entire team of employees. They were so supportive. They understood what needed to be done and were like right there standing with us at every step. With that being said, our focus as a group was only one: finish all the construction that we have. We had three under construction projects, and we knew that the only remedy to this disaster is to complete the work that you have in hands. And that's what we focused all our horses on. So we had three under construction projects, and I'm very happy to tell you that we are all three of them are nearing the possession and awaiting the completion certificates. So that is what we achieved in the pandemic. The biggest issue that the entire industry faced was the laborers not staying put and the migrant workers moving to their hometowns. And I'm very happy to say that we were able to retain them also at our labor camps, labor hutments, just by that one factor that people usually mostly forget is just show your care. Just show them you care. Take care of their food, take care of their accommodation, make sure that they're aware of the pandemic, they're well educated, they have all the medical healthcare facilities that they need. And ultimately, that's what the cry of a laborer or a migrant worker is: that where the hell am I going to eat the food from? I'm a day wager. So we just had to ensure that they are getting their 3 meals a day. They are all sanitization needs are being met, and because of that, we were able to retain most of our labor, almost 90%. And because of that, we were able to complete the construction in due time and are now in a very comfortable spot. Thank you. I think the pandemic brought the demand of a home much more on in the minds of the potential customers, because when the lockdown happened, we were all spending times at our homes and getting to see every corner, every nook and corner of your house, which we never do. I mean, we as professionals, how much do we spend time at home? You know that better than I do. So that lockdown gave the opportunity of being at your home so much and also understand the pros and the cons of living in the development that you do. I mean, some people did not have the right internet infrastructure in their houses. Some more people, they did not have enough rooms to make a home office. And the spaces, were underutilized or well overutilized because of the space that they were living in. So I would say the pandemic brought that dream of owning their own home and owning a bigger home much closer than they thought. And another additional factor to no drop in the sales was also all the other investment opportunities. They were pretty much collapsing. We saw what happened to the Sensex. We saw how the IFCs completely dipped down. And इसमें real estate came out as a big shining investor more than just like gold, and that's where people were willing to invest their time and their effort into that. Of course, real estate is more of a brick and mortar product, and sadly, up until the lockdown, none of the industry in this country had all the infrastructure laid out for us. But lockdown presented itself as a wonderful opportunity to be in hand in glove with the current changing times, and embrace the new normal and try to improve on the practices that we've had. So although everything had to be digitally done, you had to reach the customers digitally and you have to show the apartment digitally. So for that, we did all the digitals that were required for our apartments and made sure that the buying experience was seamless. Initially, we did face some hiccups because of the hesitation of not just the customer but also the person who's selling it, my sales guy. But over with some time and practice, I think all of that pretty much got smoothed on its own. And you very rightly said कि इतने panic situation में not everybody was thinking about buying a home, and not being able to see the flat. थोड़ा skepticism starting में जरूर आता है. But what I observed is slightly contrary to what you just said, is that when we are engaging with a customer over a virtual platform, we don't have just one member of the family sitting, we have the whole family sitting, exploring your product, asking all sorts of questions and queries, that how will my kids room be, how will my wife, how will the kitchen be, what are the amenities. So instead of that one person process, it became a family process where everybody was so engaged and there were no distractions. If you ask me, when you walk into a sales office, there are so many channel partners running around. There are tea runs and coffee runs, and people coming and going. So there's a lot of disturbance. Whereas when you were doing the same thing virtually, my God, was it flawless? And you were able to generate that kind of interest and, well, let them see how this house could value their lives. So I think all in all, it was a wonderful opportunity, and we absolutely embarked very nicely upon that without any drop in the sales number after the first 2 months. Gulshan has always been the player who believes in building healthy communities, right? We have this program called Home Connect, in which we bring all the residents close together and, helping each other out like one family. So that has been quite a hit for our company, although with the pandemic, we had to kind of slow down the events. I'll just give you a little brief about what Home Connect does. Home Connect is a program started by us where we encourage residents to be the host for the residents. So one resident, say, perhaps wants to do a or does Zumba training in their son. So they arranged and organized an event for the entire residents, all the residents. One person is on the stage hosting the event, and all the other residents are right there as the audience. So what it does is not just a healthy community is getting built, but it also is giving business opportunities to the resident who's hosting the event. And all of it was taken care and organized by us as the brand. So that brought the families really close to one another. And after those events stopped happening during the pandemic, I saw a very interesting thing, especially in one of my societies, Gulshani Kibana, that whether or no events were happening, everybody was so connected through Facebook, through virtual calls and everything. So much so that they did so many programs during the lockdown, like helping the people around. There was a roti campaign, there was a donation campaign for migrant workers. There were people who were making food and going out to donate it to people. There were so many camps that happened. Then to kill the boredom, there were singing competitions that people were doing from their cameras. So in that panic time, in that time of distress, when you see that community that you built coming together as one, united, my God, what a feeling that is. I mean, I have jitters right now talking about it. So it gave us so much of motivation that, if they can be together as one, I think all of us as a country should be together as one. So that is what I mean when I say that don't just buy a house, buy a neighborhood, by what you are getting into, your like-minded audience, people who will you will call your family later on. Because let's face it, whenever we move into a new group housing, we have relocated from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. We bring our bags and we move into a new concrete jungle without knowing anything, and for the first few months are always a pain. When you have something like this, a community in place who's helping each other, willing to introduce you, give you that induction of living in that society, I mean, that's humanity right there. That's people helping people, and that's exactly what we aim to build in all our properties. My latest project, Gulshan Dynasty, is based all on that. I mean, we have the highlight of that product is wellness through and through, not just physical, not just aesthetic wise, but mental wellness also, and what you see. So what we've done in this project, Gulshan Dynasty, is we have created, we first of all, it's such a low density living. We have only 204 apartments in a 6-acre land, and the rest of the land, which is 76%, is totally green. That green area has planted about 450 trees. And those 450 trees are 50 different varieties. Some are medicinal, some are mosquito repellent, some are oxygen enriching plants. So that it has been a very thoughtful selection of even the kind of plants we put in. And adding to that, the entire complex is very well misted. So I don't know if you've been to a Disneyland or a Universal Studio. Even in the hot weather, there is like this misting coming along, so you never feel the heat, and the air temperature and even the pollution is always a level below outside the complex. So that kind of technology we've used in Gulshan Dynasty to make sure all the open areas are not just green but are also cooler and protected with pollution. Additionally to that, we have all our homes, of course, in Gulshan Dynasty have the treated fresh air unit along with the AC. You don't even have to buy an air purifier. And I hate it when people just sell their homes based on an air purifier. Everybody has it nowadays. What's the big deal about it? So they are pre-fitted there. And added to that, we've created those little amenities where lifestyle wellness is a part of your daily routine, as opposed to you making that conscious effort of getting out, getting up, putting on your shoes and preparing your mind to do that. We've created those walking tracks throughout. We've created those kind of foods that you should eat. We've created those yoga pyramids, those sunbathing decks, and we are promoting wellness as a concept, as a lifestyle, as opposed to just four walls of your house. So it was a very highly research oriented project that we did. We researched for 2 years before coming up with this concept. And yeah, it has been received very well because, like you said, pollution and health problems are something that are facing our country much more than before. I would say we are what US was 20 years ago right now. And it is this time with people like us who are developing complexes, we have to be very mindful of this. So just adding trees or just one purifier, it does not solve the purpose. It has to be a holistic environment that you create where lifestyle is your priority, and that's exactly what we've done with Gulshan Dynasty. My product Gulshan Dynasty. Call it foresight, call it luck, but we have been very lucky while designing that because it's not just about that wellness quotient in mind. We've also taken care of things like separate entry exit points for the service class and the residents. For example, like not just in the complex, but also in your own house. So if you have a courier, you have a delivery guy, there's a separate door for it, and there's a balcony it opens into where you can sanitize all your products, keep them in the sun and everything, and then bring them home. So these small little things have been taken care of in Gulshan Dynasty. However, in my older developments, this was not something that we have done. So to overcome that con, what we have done is we have educated all our customers and rather campaigned about it, of how we are giving you the solutions of creating your rooms as a multi-purpose rooms. So I don't know if you aware of that, but we've recently created a sample flat even at Gulshan Botnia, where with all the multi-purpose furniture, you call it modular furniture. So what it does is that room becomes a multi-purpose area. It can be a study also, it can be a pull-out bed also, and then it can be a couch also when you want to, lounge. So those kind of innovations we have put in all our projects to make sure that whatever spaces we are offering should be well equipped to handle another lockdown. And along with those ideas of and the offering of customizing those rooms, we're also ensuring that the internet connectivity in all our apartments is top notch and uninterrupted, because at the end of the day you can go and study from the hills and work from wherever the hell you want to, but if there is no internet connection, everything goes for a toss. So that is something that we have very carefully taken care of. And yeah, I'm proud to say that my residents are also very happy. We recently increased the load of one of our societies because when everybody is at home and everybody is on their appliances, sometimes the load becomes difficult to take care. I mean, when we plan, it's usually 70-30, that the right MEB mix that goes on. I'm not going to bore you with the details anymore, but that's how it is done. But now all that fundamental has changed. You have to prepare for 100% occupancy at all times. And that's what we're doing. Luxury is the most overabused term in real estate right now. And that is something that we want to really strive away from. And luxury is also so subjective from person to person. What's luxury for you may not be luxury for me. For me, a good view is luxury. For you, maybe nicer Italian marble is luxury. I mean, it's different. So you can't base your product on just one term, luxury. And that's something that we as a brand have tried to stay away from for some time. With that being said, Gulshan has been in this industry for the last 31 years. We started with independent houses, made a name for ourselves in East Delhi, then progressed into Indrapuram, made a name for ourselves there, and then moved on to Noida. There, we started and tested the market with more affordable products. However, throughout the journey that we've always made premium houses. I mean, never the affordable ones. Our costing and our pricing has always been higher, and so have our sizes even. So, Gulshan has always been a premium developer, and after completing 3 decades of this journey, we saw this as a rite of passage. We can't keep doing the same thing anymore. We have to upgrade ourselves, and more importantly, upgrade the lives of the investors and the customers who've been with us all these decades. So, it was just a progression, if you ask me. We've done this, now we are in the next grade, and this is what we are going to perfect now, and then we'll move on to the next grade. And that's what we've done. So, getting into luxury was, like I said, a rite of passage. We always wanted to do this. And also, that is something that comes naturally to us. Okay. We will have a much harder time creating a 2 bedroom or smaller studio unit, because our quality does not compromise. Our pricing, our costing rather, does not compromise. You know that Gulshan is known for its quality. And rather, even the suppliers that we have, even the execution contractors that we have, they always end up charging us extra because of the kind of quality consciousness that me and my team have. Because यहाँ तो भैया बहुत बहुत ठोक ठोक के देखेंगे if you've done the right work or not. So they always charge me extra. So, like I said, that quality, that luxury, so to say, comes naturally to us as a brand. And that has been my personal longing for this brand, that we do only the best work, and that's exactly what we want to do. Now, focusing into luxury developments is not just about the residences per se, but it is more of giving that experience to our customer wherever they go. So that is why it's not just about making one Gulshan Dynasty as a luxury residence. It's also about creating a Gulshan 129, which is a luxury commercial space with large office plates and larger shops comparatively. Why? Because we want that wherever our customer is going, he should have that same experience, and we should be upgrading their lifestyle in every manner, and that's where our products are designed that way. Now, you ask me, how do we get that from the target audience? How do we read the pulse of it? Research. And my existing buyers, we have a very good relation with our existing residents, existing owners, and they talk very highly of us and are very welcome for a chat always. And we keep taking their feedbacks, that what it is that is lacking in your current development, what would you like in the next one. And we always get really interesting answers, and very honest, candid ones also. We've heard our flaws, and we've also countered them, and we've also heard the good things and well improved them some way or the other. Residents being the first primary source of my research, and of course, reading the market, understanding where the buyer is going, where my buyer is going, and creating that whole little small market share for our own selves is what we have been doing. So even the office spaces that we are building are larger than what you see throughout the expressway. Even the kind of brands we are going to bring in are going to be a different notch that you see all throughout the expressway. And well, even my Gulshan Botnia and Balina are no less than a premium housing. It's just they're priced differently. So with Gulshan Dynasty, we have tried to make this as our platform and shoot off from here. Going forward, this is the kind of developments we'll be doing. This is what we know best. Luxury is so subjective. What is it to me may not be luxury to you, and that is what a buyer has to be wary of. Anybody can put Italian marbles. It's just a material, right? But what luxury to me personally is the whole experience. It's the whole convenience of living. It's the kind of It's the kind of pride, the kind of sense of belongingness you feel when you own something of a higher stature. That legacy that you've created, that convenience of life. I would repeat that again because that is exactly what is missing in our lives. I mean, to tell you the truth, I have been living in Koti for, I don't know, 20 years now. And I also have an apartment in Ikebana, my own property. Now, I've lived in both the places, and according to me, living in that apartment is more luxurious. You know why? Because convenience is at my fingertips. I can push a button and it's done. I can get anything done within a few minutes. That is the kind of luxury I want to live in. Whereas in this apartment, I mean, during the lockdown, we realized even when the internet goes down, we have to wait for somebody to come and fix it. Whereas in the group housing, that's not the case. So luxury to me is convenience. And if you can make that in a dwelling, if you can make your customers' life easy anyway, that's the luxury. That's the luxury we all need. Yes, it should have good materials. Yes, it should be aesthetically pleasing. Yes, it should add to your lifestyle. All of that is given. But are you making their life easier? That's your main goal. And for anybody who's, well, trying to evaluate luxury, it's very important to see the intent of where that concept is coming from. Like I said, is it to make your life easier? Is it to add more value to it? Or is it just to make a couple extra bucks with Italian marbles? That is where you have to kind of draw the line and understand what works for you. I mean, no offense to people who prefer Italian marbles. I mean, that's your prerogative. That's what you like as luxury. For me, per se, a good view is luxury. Fresh air to breathe is luxury. Being able to eat organic food is luxury. Having the cleanest air and the cleanest water is luxury. If I can give that to my customers, I mean, they may not know it now, but they will realize the value of their lives. They will, when they live longer, when they have less diseases. That's the kind of luxury that I'm talking about here. Real estate has always been governed by past record. I mean, that's just how it is, and that's how it should be. Because real estate is not a product you just walk into the market, pick it up, and if it doesn't work out, you throw. It's something you invest hugely into, and then you have to spend a large part of your life in, whether it's your office, whether it's your house, whatever, whatever you're purchasing, it's a part of you then. So real estate is, especially this part of the world, it is highly dependent on what you've done in the work. So whatever, whoever is now buying, looking to buy, they should only look at the previous work of the developer. I mean, no fancy hoarding can bring you that credibility. No fancy newspaper ads can bring you that credibility than what a testimony can. If the past existing customers are happy with your product, if they are believing in you, you must have done something right. If you have that satisfaction rate, you've done something right. If you've delivered your properties in time, that's pretty much what the world needs. And if you've done that so with maintaining the highest standards of quality, that's where you should be putting your money in. Because at the end of the day, it's your life and death. A bad quality home can lead to a disaster, whereas a good quality home, well, saves you a lot of money over time. So, what a developer has done throughout their life, throughout their tenure, is what you should be looking at before taking any risks. Well, like I said, when we completed 30 years in the industry, we knew that it was time to diversify. It was time to expand, and it was time to do what we felt was right. And that's when we diversified into not just uber luxury residences, but also commercial space. And well, if things go well, perhaps even into hospitality. So, what, like I said, what we want to do as a developer is to be at all the touch points where my customer is. If they want to shop, they want to eat, I want to be there. They want to go for a vacation, they want to get married, they want to use a conference hall, I want to be there. They want to live, they want to upgrade their house, I want to be there. So I want to be their mentor, rather, their friend in whatever real estate genre they want to be in. And that's where I'm picking up my cues from. That's what is going to be my diversification based on. Like, well, I'll just share that with you. Very recently, I've been getting requests from people that, hey, when are you going to build your hotel in the hills? When are you going to do that? Because that's that's something that people expect of us. I don't know how, but they do. And it has been my lifelong dream to, well, me and my dad both, that we do something like that. We create an asset, a hotel or something that we can, well, retire at eventually. And yeah, that is also on the cards. So like I said, wherever my customer is going, I want to be there. I want to upgrade their lives in whatever way. As of now, we have diversified into commercial. Hopefully we will also into hospitality and perhaps have more commercial buildings out there. But as of now, the first focus, the most primary focus, is to finish all my under construction properties and then think fresh. Leadership, I've read so many books about it, but at the end of the day, the only thing that works, the only thing that is proven to work in front of me is honesty. When you're honest with your teams, when you're honest with your stakeholders, even your customers, you've you'd be surprised that has so much value to it. It goes such a long way. I'm not going to lie, we had some tough times during the pandemic last year. We had some low moments, and I'm very happy and rather grateful that I have always had the support of my employees. But why do I have it? Because I've been honest with them. I've been telling them my problems, at the same time kept them afloat, kept them motivated, let them know that we are all in this together. That teamwork, that united family feeling is what got us through and what will get everyone through at the end of the day. So many people did a lot of hanky pankies in this time because everybody was in panic. Everybody was going through something. We did not know what was to happen. And we also had to cut down a lot of our costs in that time. But because of that transparency, because of that trust that we have in our employees and the employees have in us, is why we were able to stay afloat. So there's only one leadership style that works: be honest and lead with example. Do what you expect them to do. As simple as that.